Controlled Chaos here. I am interviewing Dr. Drake, who plays Stars Reach. How are you doing today, Drake?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
I'm doing really good. So I want to start off by getting sort of to know you a bit by what got you into video games. When did you get into video games? What sort of dragged you into video games?
So I basically started in early 2000s, roughly. My first, it was Nintendo 64, of course, Super Smash Brothers. Moved into 19th Old Republics. BioWare was kind of my big game company that I loved playing games from them. And then I basically got my first, so I was a Mac guy. So I didn't have PCs to play all these cool games like Star Wars Galaxies. So the first game that I got familiarized with MMOs was World of Warcraft. So I played Vanilla WoW. And that's pretty much what I played most of my life into adulthood, but haven't played it much recently because it gets a little bit boring after 20 something years.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, you got into it, later than I did. I was born in the 70s. And so, I grew up playing Atari 2600. My first computer was the Commodore 64. I got to play on Apple IIs in school. And because I live in Oregon, we actually in school had to play the video game Oregon Trail. It was actually a requirement. And I found that very fun. And that was sort of, because my brother, got the Commodore 64, I played games with him on the Commodore 64. And then my grandmother got us the Atari 2600. Atari 2600. That sort of helped out too. But what helped out was the fact that in school, we actually had to play games in learning because there was also like Carmen Sandiego and stuff like that. And that's sort of what embedded me into gaming. What I want to know is how did you find out about Stars Reach and what got you interested in wanting to play Stars Reach?
So one of the things I've always wanted, and WoW was kind of that itch for me, is I wanted a game that truly felt like a living world. It had that kind of infinite feel of progression. And so like over the years, I've always like looked around Reddit, Twitter, all those things, just looking for like that MMO that was really gonna do it. Like it was like No Man's Sky for a bit, and then it just didn't really feel like that true MMO. And it was one day I was on Reddit and I saw a Stars Reach advertisement. I'm like, this is interesting. I saw Star Wars Galaxy, even though I didn't play it, I knew about the game, and I'm like, I wish I could have played that game. And so I was like, okay, it came from Raph. I know his name, and so I'm like, okay, let's see what this is about. And I think I joined their Discord like 3-4 months after it started. It was like October, I think, of 24, and so been around not at the beginning, but close to it, and that's kind of what got me started with Stars Reach.
Okay. Now you mentioned Star Wars Galaxies and stuff like that, and you hadn't had a chance to play it. Have you actually gone and tried jumping on to any of the private servers to see what Star Wars Galaxies was like?
I actually haven't. It's for me, I've seen like some videos and it's just graphically, it's difficult for my brain to wrap around it. Um,
Ah.
but and because like in to be honest, like Stars Reach kind of turned me off at the beginning with their more stylized graphics.
Hmm.
Um, but it's like once you get in game, it's amazing. Like, and
Yeah.
I'm not a stylized graphics person. Like, I prefer realistic. Like, I played PAX Day because of the graphics.
Hmm.
Um, but it's like that's kind of why I haven't gotten looked into it. But I've looked at documents from Raph because I mean it's kind of useful to know that because he keeps referencing it on like, oh, this is how the combat's going to be, or this is how the random stats are going to be. So
Yeah.
I've done that just for due diligence of research.
Yeah, so my recommendation is if you want to get a feel of what it's going to be, sort of what the crafting is going to be like and the economy is going to be like, definitely jump into something like Star Wars EMU, Star Wars Finalizer, Star Wars Restoration for the Star Wars Galaxies, and check those out, and you'll get a good feel for sort of what the economy can look like, and along with the city building and stuff like that. It is a great precursor to feel the direction that he's going with this. And with that, what's your favorite thing to do in Stars Reach, and why?
A good question. I'm finding lots of things every test that I enjoy that I don't normally. But I think the biggest thing for me is the exploration. So I like grew up with Pokemon.
Hmm.
So like you gotta catch them all type mentality. And for Stars Reach, it's like something I've been doing a lot. It's just a lot of documentation. Like going to these planets, I want to find all the different flora. I want to go and I want to find all the different minerals that exist in the game. And it's like it's different for every planet. So it's like a new exploration. And then we get into their new like wild wormholes. And it's like
Yeah.
now you get a new planet every test. It's like that's like the ultimate like explorer's dream. Like now you can go there and spend 3 hours every test just exploring, because 3 hours is not enough time.
Oh
Like
yeah,
if you
definitely.
want to truly get everything. And so for me, that the exploration and the discovery feel is, I think, by far my favorite part about Stars Reach thus far.
Yeah, I am finding a lot of fun in exploring and seeing the new stuff that they put in the game, and especially with this wild wormholes update that you mentioned, and that wormhole leading us to a brand new procedurally generated planet for that playtest is amazing. And I like the fact that in the future it's going to evolve for when it goes live, that wormhole can shut you and you can be stuck on that planet for forever, maybe. That intrigues me because then there's that risk, and I like games where there's risk to what you're doing.
Yeah, exactly. The Because you can't just have it happy go lucky all the time.
Yeah.
You have to have some type of risk, else everyone would do it. And if everyone could do it, then it kind of ruins like that economy feel and
Hmm.
just that type of gameplay.
Yeah, exactly. And with that, what's your like least favorite thing about Stars Reach so far?
That's a good question. I feel like it'd almost be nitpicky for a lot of the things, but it's just in general, like you always want to see more stuff.
Hmm.
And it's like knowing that you got to do the back end stuff. You have to do that side of things, but it's like it's waiting for those professions, because it's like you just want to see more because the game has so much to offer, and it's like you're getting used to all these things, and then you're gonna get something new that next week. And You don't know if you're going to like that new thing or you're going to love that new thing. And the thing with Stars Reach is you're going to be limited. And so while yes, we want it to be limited, it also stinks that it's going to be limited because you want to be able to do everything.
Hmm.
So that's probably the biggest thing for me, that if I had to choose, because I like it a lot, and it's hard for me to like choose something I truly dislike, because um it's been everything I've been hoping for. Like there hasn't been one thing where it's like, you know what, I don't really like how this is going type thing. And
Yeah.
so it's not really a great answer, but hopefully something.
Well, it leads into other questions that I have. So, is this the first game that you actually gotten into test, or have you tested other games in the past?
definitely tested other games in the past, but never. It's more so a sense of like, I just want to play this game
Mhm.
type of a thing, never from the mindset of like, oh, I want to help grow this game, or I want to help be a part of the community for it. It's more so I just wanted to like play it early type mentality. And for this game, it's completely different. It's like I want to find the bugs. I want to make it better. And so I think it's a different lens when you go at a game that way.
It is, and I agree with you. I'm the same way. That's the reason why I put it onto my channel so early on. It is because of that things, and the community out there that we have that's growing already is just amazing. But the reason I asked that question about testing other games is, what do you think about how they're progressing and how quickly things are changing in Stars Reach? Does that surprise you? And is that a good surprise, or are you a bit worrisome about how quickly we're getting updates of every 2 weeks to a month?
I think it's extremely good pace because I think the biggest thing when I've been in tests prior is it just takes forever
Hmm.
to get new updates. And usually the updates are not very substantial, I'd say,
Hmm.
which kind of worries me as a gamer. That it's like if it's like you hear the developers being like, we're gonna have this big update, and then you see what they come out with, it's like if that's what you consider big, I don't consider that big. Whereas Stars Reach, at least they don't use that terminology. They're not like, watch for this next huge update. They're not overhyping.
Hmm.
They're staying very realistic. And I think a 3 week turnaround, I'd probably like to see it maybe 2 weeks just because I start to see like you see people like they get in for that first week, maybe 2 weeks, they get excited. There's enough to do for about that 2 weeks, and then that third week, people are like, okay, when's that next patch hitting?
Hmm.
Um, so I'd like to see it faster, but I think realistically, it's a great pace. Like you can't really, they're coming out with legit dates um, that give you plenty of new stuff to do. Um, yeah.
Yeah, and that's what I really like is how quickly they're moving with adding things with such a small team. I mean, there's around 30 people working on this game, and we're getting that quick a turnaround. Where I've played other games and been in their tests where the turnaround, like you said, is months and months of waiting. It's not as intensive of an update, and they got hundreds of people working on the game. It's sort of really surprising to me and interesting. Now, I want to know, with there being guilds being formed in the game, there's no guild actual system in the game. Players are actually creating their own guilds. Are you in a guild? And if so, what guild are you in, and what's your position in that guild?
I think guilds have been great. It's been great for the community, and it was a couple of us started. We formed G.U.N.K, the Galactic Union of Natural Conservation, really early on, and we are kind of and I basically we kind of have a more counselor council leading it, but I'm quote unquote the leader
Hmm.
of it. Um, and we kind of formed it with the idea of we wanted, because Stars Reach is going to be that different type of game. And so we wanted a different type of guild to go along with it. We didn't want to necessarily be the stereotypical like WoW guild that it's like, we're going to do everything. We're raiding PvP, we're going to have every single profession, etc., etc. We wanted to have a purpose. We had the more science directive. We wanted to be a helpful guild. We wanted to help people, and so we want to kind of turn the guild system on its head.
Hmm.
And that's kind of where we kind of came out, and we just grew naturally from it. And that's something we want to make it fun for people in the game, and so we create these big projects in game, and we just want to bring the community, give something for people to see what is possible when you have these guilds helping out and helping build the communities.
Well, and that's the funny thing is because Gunk has influenced other people in making guilds. There's one person I interviewed where they're doing a trade federation guild. Another guild that I read is doing more merchants and crafting. Another guild is doing more of creating beautiful architectures of cities and stuff like that. And you guys had sort of the original influence by being one of the earlier ones to start making a guild and doing guilds in a different way, especially with your beautifying of the planets. Because I remember when it was around Easter, you guys got together and did this really cool foliage artwork on, I think it was Rodiant, that looked very Easter esque and stuff like that. And you guys even started holding events that you guys have done, correct?
Yep. Yeah, it's something because Stars Reach wants to have like that player lore. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's a world that's we're part of the lore. And so it's like, why shouldn't we like try and help build that and show that it's viable? Because like you hear in some games, like a fully player driven story doesn't work. Well, it won't work if you don't have players really putting their best foot forward and trying to create this stuff. And so that's where we kind of came from is like, this is our world to kind of try and create something. Like we could create a holiday, which that was what that event was. It was Tortoise Renovare, is what we kind of came up with. And we put stories together for the lore. We put poetry together for the lore. We put a quest line, and then we had the beautification, like you said, and
Mm-hmm.
we had it spread across all the planets that we just wanted people to kind of celebrate and give them a reason like, hey, you may not have been in game for 2 weeks, but hey, we have this event. Come back in and check this out. Doing stuff like that to really bring to life some of the community and just start that so that hopefully other people will start pitching in and thinking of their own lore and stuff like that, which we've seen. We've seen people come up with some lore and more interest in that side of things, and it's great to see.
Yeah, it is great to see, and it's very fun. And what I think is interesting is we have these fireside chats and these interviews that the developers do. I've noticed in a lot of them, Gunk is always brought up a lot. When that started happening, did that surprise you? And were you happy to see them sort of mentioning Gunk and how often it's brought up? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, it was very surprising. Because it was because like to us, it's like we just got together a group of people that were like-minded, that had similar interests and stuff of that nature, and like we're just having fun. And so when we started getting mentioned in like the live videos and stuff like that, it was like, oh, it was like pretty cool because it's like it's almost uh, like you have these developers who are almost like celebrities,
Mm-hmm.
quote unquote, and like you're hearing them talking about like their ideas and then they mention gunk. It's like, wow, like I like it's almost like surreal. And then it's like the one thing that like was amazing is like when Raph had his latest lore drop.
Mm-hmm.
He had a little part in there about our city that we put together, Mycedium. Wasn't mentioned by name, but it was talking about what we had created, and it was like that just like blew our minds. Like, but it also showed what we had thought about trying to become part of the lore. It eventually happened, and that was just our minds are still blown that that happened. But it just kind of speaks to the devs mean what they say. Like this is legitimately our world to kind of create and build with them. So it's just been phenomenal to see the community in general, just how they've come together with Gunk, and like you have people joking. Like it's been amazing time with the community.
Yeah, and that's why I find it very interesting. And here's the interesting thing. We're not just influencing the lore and being referenced in lore, like you mentioned, but also the fact that we're influencing the choices that they make in developing the game, such as farming. Farming, they planned to come out a while ago, but because of the way people have been doing the planting of bushes and trees like that, probably mostly due to gunk, they sort of stopped and went, wait, we're not doing enough for farming. We need to change and we need to do this, this, and this, and this. And I think they'll be happier with farming if we do these things. With Gunk and the way you guys have been playing with the game, doing that kind of thing, were you guys excited to see that they're changing what they're doing with the game based on what you guys are doing in the game?
I think that it's just amazing. Like, regardless of anything, like when you as a player see the feedback that you give or the way you play, and then developers actually notice and take that into account. I mean, I think that's amazing when you see that happening, and it's it's great to see because you have all these people that shows you that that's just a way that you play organically. And so seeing them being willing to make those changes when, like you said, like farming was probably due like a patch later,
Mhm.
and they put it on hold, and it's still on hold, which just shows that they're willing to do stuff correct rather than to get it out quick. Because even like you've seen, like you mentioned, shape,
Mhm.
and the architecture they're doing, like the stuff they're building is insane.
Yes.
And they've, like, we got a Kickstarter goal more than likely because what they did in showing off of what's possible to build. So it's like you can see all these little things or big things that players are doing, and it's influencing the development of the game, which is just phenomenal to see because it shows you that we as players really actually matter in helping try and develop this game.
Yeah, I agree with you. And you brought up the Kickstarter. And what I think is interesting about the Kickstarter is how they did the Kickstarter. And because most MMOs and games, when they do the Kickstarter, it's we have this idea. Let's talk about our idea. Whereas Stars Reach went the direction of let's show you our idea, and better yet, why don't you come play in the world we're trying to create? Do you think that was the smartest move that they made to make their Kickstarter successful? And do you think that that's what caused their Kickstarter to be successful?
I think getting people in game, because like I said before, like looking at the graphics, this was not my type of game.
Mm-hmm.
Like if I just purely went off of that, but once you get in the game, it it's hard to kind of explain. Like it's like once you get in that game, it's like wow, this is like different. You can almost immediately feel it's a different type of game, and it's like this is a pre-alpha. like
Yeah.
like there's games that are in early access, like beta form, that don't play as well as Stars Reach does currently. And so like getting people into play, and they were trying to get new people in like almost daily,
Oh,
which
yeah,
I
they
think
were.
which I think that is a testament to their success because I think you get people into this world and into this game, even with its like bare bones of different skills and stuff like that, even at this current level, like getting in that game, it really feels great. And so I think that's going to be, I would imagine that was a big part of their success is trying to get so many people in so that they can actually feel the game and actually play it. Because you don't always get to do that with these Kickstarters. It's just like you said, like an idea, and ideas you never know. But when you can actually play the game, that says a lot more.
Yeah, it does. And I think that's really cool that they did that. And I agree with you that that's what caused the success of the game. And I want to know with, you know, that I know when they put in the event system, one of the events that they put in is reforestation from people cutting down too many trees. What was Gunk's response when they first saw that event kick off?
So we had, it's actually funny because when they had talked about having that event, we were like in our Discord, like, okay, guys, here's the game plan. We have to be prepared because people are gonna go crazy trying to get the event kicked off. And so we had like all this preparation ready to go, and then things went live, and we were able to kind of keep it from happening. It was like, well, you know what? We're gonna have to kind of like let it happen because we're testing. Like
Yeah.
that's the whole thing with this. And so it's like, you know what? We'll let this happen, and then we'll see like how quick we can like try and stop this after it happened. So we let it happen. Then like the world was on fire, and it was pretty. I think it was Guyamar, if I remember correctly, and um it went crazy, and then we all just started putting out the fires, replanting, and then I think we crashed once we were successful the first time, and it was just one of those like fun experiences. Like it's just, even though like reforestation is like no longer in the game as of right now,
Mm.
but it's one of those moments that it's like it was so cool because like you had all this planning, and it's and it just brought the community together, I think, having that type of stuff. And so it was really fun.
Well, and that's not the only time you've done it. I read an article that you guys wrote up about peacifying a world by taking out the makers for aggressive creatures, and that you were successful in doing that on one planet.
Yep. Yeah, we had it was Rodin that we had gone through, and we wanted to see if we could only have like the jackalopes and the bunnies
Mm-hmm.
only spawn. So it's like I think it took about like 3-4 hours, but we were able to get rid of all the quote unquote hostile makers, and only bunnies and jackalopes were spawning. So it's really cool to test the limits, because even one of the developers was in the group trying to do it, and it was like, I don't know if this is possible. And so it's like it's really cool when you have that type of stuff where it's like you're on the front line like testing this stuff, and so it's like someone comes up with an idea, yeah, let's go do it. And so it's really fun to have that type of thing, and then on top of it you have the developers like helping, like it's
Yeah.
mind-blowing, like crazy.
Well, and that's the fun thing is the developers being in the game, seeing that and helping us test those things out. Like when Beanstalk City, you remember Beanstalk City?
Yep.
So you remember when we were working on that and Raph accidentally flooding Beanstalk City and then us having to clean out all the mud and stuff like that?
Yep.
So it's great memories like that that I love, and that he was surprised. And the fact that we're able to surprise the developers on their own game so many times is amazing. And I really love that because they get excited. They love seeing what we're doing in the game and what we do with their world. And that pushes me even further to do more. Does it do the same thing for you and the Gunk Guild?
Yeah, it's funny you bring that up because yeah, it 100% does. When you, it's like infectious, like
Uh-huh.
that love and um, I can't even think of the word, but like that feeling the devs give off,
Mm.
it just inspires you to like do more type of stuff. And I know that's like, it's like each time it's like, okay, yeah, we built Gunk Plaza, and so it was just like a building. It was a big building, but it was
That's that big
something like,
mushroom building, right?
no, this was prior to that
Oh, that was
actually.
prior because I remember you guys did this big mushroom one.
Yes. And that's what we were trying to be like, okay, so what can we do that's, because it's like, okay, we need to do something cooler.
Mm-hmm.
And bring more of the community together, because we saw the first time it brought, like, we had like a huge dance party. It was like 15 people came. It's like, okay, what can we do to like bring more of the community together. And that's when we came up with this mushroom build, the mycelium, that's still in the game. Like they haven't wiped. That was like some of the stuff they had talked about is trying not to wipe it.
Yeah.
And so it's been awesome to see that, like, because we built it fully knowing it was going to be wiped in 3 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
We just enjoy doing that type of stuff and like helping out the community and showing what we can do as a community. And when they said it wasn't wiped, it's like now we can just have this thing for who knows how long until another wipe. But it's those types of things that it's like it was a crazy engineering idea that we were like, yeah, let's go big or go home. Let's try and build this up as big as we can and see how many homesteads we can fit in it. Because again, we're testing things and we want to have as many people who want to build and like build a little home there or a business. We wanted that capability, and so we just went with it, and it's kind of just turned into its own thing that just you'll see people come around and build either on it or around it, and it's just one of those cool things. And it's like we always joke like, "Oh, what's the next thing we're gonna do?" Because it's like, how are we gonna do something different and better, quote unquote, than what we've already done? And so it always just pushes you to do more types of stuff because it's like you want to do cool stuff for the community because it's something that people talk about. Like a lot of people just go to Pyro they want to just see it.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's that type of stuff that kind of keeps you going. It's not even from the devs, it's also the players. It's like when you see that enjoyment, it's like, okay, this is working. It makes you want to do more.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing is you guys built that, and it's now a landmark in the game. It's sort of like a natural or wonder of the world. It's like the pyramids type of thing that you guys have built. So that's got to bring you good satisfaction. The fact that people are building around it and stuff like that, you guys have to enjoy it a lot.
Yeah, because it's really showing that what's possible in the game. Because it's like you always hear about like, oh yeah, you can do whatever you want in the game, and it like, or you have these player-driven quests and stuff like that. Will people actually come to a planet because you have a quest? And I think even though we don't have like a quest system in place, it's showing that players are coming just to see Mycelium. Like,
Yeah.
and so that it really kind of shows that there is a true future for Stars Reach. That if players start putting stuff together, people will come. And then you put like quest systems in place. I think that's even going to make it even easier for people to come because then there'll be a legit reason just beyond seeing what was built. You also have quests and stuff like that. So it really shows what's possible and really gives an idea for the future.
It does. I'm very excited for the quest system and currency system to come into the game because I think that will take the game another jump forward in its test. And
yeah.
I noticed one thing I was curious about because G.U.N.K's all about preservation and stuff like that. What's G.U.N.K's thought of when people go through and clear cut an area or strip mine an area or take out a bunch of creatures in an area? What's your guys' response and thoughts on that? How you guys handle that kind of thing?
So like right now, it's something we try and let people know as best as we can. It's like it's a pre-alpha. Like there's going to be destruction. In fact, like you almost want to see it in a sense because it's going to help test the game. Like, and it's getting the game tested and stuff like that. Obviously, like if we had our choice, yeah, you wouldn't want to destroy because then it's gonna screw up ecosystems and stuff of that nature. But it's a testing game right now, and so it's kind of figuring out what works and what doesn't work. And you can have different responses. Like if we start, because you'll have like some of them, like the dark wizards, were a plant that would go extinct like almost immediately on pyromyces.
Hmm.
And so that was something that we paid attention to. And we're like, okay, let's try and save up some of our seeds. So when the initial wave of people come and make it go extinct, we at least have seeds that we can then plant and try and propagate ourselves. So we kind of take, I don't want to say advantage, but we take advantage of people's nature on trying to just clear some of the stuff, and then we know, okay, that's going to happen, so let's try and work together on trying to make sure we can preserve this, because like the dark wizards are cool to look at, like,
Yeah, they are cool.
pyro is very it can get more bland when all the glowy plants are gone from it.
Hmm.
And so that's something that we've tried to figure out different ways on how we can keep the planets looking pristine as possible. And like you'll see projects for like filling in some of the dirt holes that we've done, just try to get rid of all the potholes on planets. And it's just stuff like that that, due to it being a pre-alpha and people playing around more, it allows us to kind of react differently to different situations and try and kind of get a game plan going. And it just helps figure out how easy something is, because it's like when you think about like we've noticed like just repopulating a planet like with different flora, that's very difficult like in like maybe a couple patches ago. And so it's like, okay, we're gonna have to really pay attention to this when, if the system were to go live in its current state, because I don't know how we'd be able to keep stuff from going extinct. So it's those types of things that it's just paying attention to and trying to think towards the future on like, how would we handle this when it actually comes out? Because you can't hold anything against anyone right now.
Yeah, exactly. I agree with you. So I take it when you run across a player like me that when I do my harvesting and my mining, I find big batches of trees and bushes together. And like I'll find 3 trees growing like right next to each other where they're almost growing on top of each other, and I take the middle one out, so I'm sort of doing sort of like a light thinning of the trees and the bushes, and then I move on to the next area. So I don't clear cut everything, I don't take everything away excuse me, and go about that route. And then on top of that, when I'm mining to get a resource, and I go dump off my tailings, I do like you were talking about and find those potholes and those divots, and I fill it up to sort of even it out and create maybe a small little mound, and then move over to the next one, and so on and so forth. So when you see players doing like what I do, you probably sort of internally are smiling and like they get what we're trying to do and they're helping us out.
Yeah, it's funny you bring that up, because was just in voice chat the other day, and players are talking about exactly that, the thinning. They're like, yeah, I only do one of every three. It's like, that's awesome. Like, that's like in reality, like if you think big picture for this stuff, like with things actually able to go extinct, yeah, there could be another planet that spins up and stuff like that. But what if like you don't find that same creature for 10, 15 other planets? Like, so you have to kind of, you hope that players start thinking that bigger picture, because I don't think other MMOs really make you think that bigger picture. It's like,
Yeah.
you're trying to get that raid gear, you're trying to beat that next raid that comes out from the expansion pack, whatever. You're not really thinking like, okay, what if I do something in the world, I have a reaction to the world, and I could potentially change that world. And so when you get players thinking about that, where like you said, like you only selecting one out of the 3 trees, or filling in the potholes, like that's the way that I think we hope players start to think, like, because you are going, like, you can see how you affect the planet, and I think it's only going to get worse the closer we get to live.
Yeah. So another thing I want to bring up about this whole entire thing of the tree cutting and stuff like that, I'm pretty sure you and Gunk were very excited when they put the update in where you don't actually take out the entire bush or tree, when you harvest it, you just shrink it down to its small size and then it regrows after time. And in order to fully get it to go away, you have to burn it. Did that make you guys excited and your guys' job a little bit easier?
In all honesty, it made it too easy. And that because it's like there's no it's kind of like how we talked about the risk.
Yeah.
And essentially it made it no risk. And so while yes, it keeps the planets beautiful and stuff like that, there's no real risk to it. And so it kind of takes away from the gameplay. And I've seen like Dave talk about one of the devs, just saying, yeah, don't worry, we'll go back to being able to have extinction and stuff like that eventually. This is like a temporary thing. And it's like, okay, good, because you need that risk to it, else it just becomes too easy. Like it becomes just a okay, everything's perfectly fine in the galaxy instead of working to make it perfectly fine.
Yeah.
While it's very nice because now we don't run out of wizards or anything like that, it's a temporary niceness.
Yeah, my thinking is what they're doing here with having that in is that is a test bed for what they're planning to do in farming areas only.
Yeah.
And so that would be in your homestead when you're doing the farming, but out in the real world, it'd go back to the, hey, you take the whole entire thing down type of feel. And I think that would be a nice, even balance.
Yeah, having it where you can do stuff that's specifically homestead related, it makes sense. Because you want people to be able to have their beautiful gardens. You want people to have their beautiful houses and stuff like that. You don't want people to have to worry about that, but only on their homestead. Out in the world, you need to be able to make it like you have to have that risk to it.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. Now, when the game goes live and they have the whole entire mission system in, let's say they have bounty hunters in and stuff like that, would you actually contract bounty hunters to go after the people that are clear cutting and strip mining and stuff like that with no thoughts of the world? How would Gunk sort of handle that? Would you guys go after them yourselves or would you contract that out?
So I don't know if going after them would be the right terminology for it, but it would be something that we're paying attention to. Because again, we want to make sure that things don't start disappearing due to strip mining or something like that. Naturally, that's fine. But if you have players going through and just strip mining planets and I don't want to say making it worse for other players, but essentially, like, if they're doing it from that type of perspective, like they're just trying to corner the market or something like that, that's something we want to pay attention to. Because again, our one of our biggest goals is we want to help players. We don't want it to be, oh, someone's able to grab all these resources from this planet and then corner the market on it. Or take all these resources and now a new player who's only able to get on maybe an hour a week or something, now they have to go even further out into the galaxy because people have strip mined all these planets. So that's something that I don't know because we don't know what's going to be in the game.
Yeah.
But we've definitely talked about just like for like a mission based system on okay, if we start seeing certain things are going more towards extinction, like okay, put out a mission to be like if you can bring us these seeds not from this planet, then we can keep that in like kind of like a seed vault so that when that guild or those group of people eventually move on from that planet, then we can come back to that planet and repopulate the flora and repopulate the fauna and stuff like that. So that's kind of one of our goals we have is to help make sure that planets don't fully disappear. Because yes, new planets can spawn, but I feel that's an easy way out if we're just like, oh, yep, a new planet can spawn. So we don't really have to take care of our current planets. I don't think that's a good answer. And so something has to be done. And it's kind of like a gameplay lore side of things as well. Like it allows you to spin your story on that Gunk's trying to protect ecosystems out there.
Yeah. Which is actually what the the Sentinels are trying to do. Is they're trying to get us to protect the planets and stuff like that. And so you guys are working sort of on their behalf to help out with that whole entire system. And is that the whole entire idea behind Gunk, or is it just something naturally you guys want to see?
Yeah, I think it was something natural because we started out just from the science side. Like it was we were talking like science nerdy stuff in the Discord channel, and we're like, you know what? Like, what if we created like a science-based guild? Like, with that being more of a forefront. And then it turned into like more conservation efforts, and you have science aspect of it. And so it just really kind of naturally formed into like, okay, like how can we make things different and how can we take advantage of these interesting systems that they have? Like Extinction, like what games have like that where you can literally player wise make things go extinct? And so we were trying to take advantage of seeing the potential systems that were available and being like, we could actually kind of create a union to try and combat some of this stuff and really go to town. And like even like some other guilds have kind of played into, or we're going to be the destroyers of these planets. Like perfect. It's like that gives you that type of that like quote unquote villain. And it, I mean, because you need that for stories. Like you
Yeah.
can't just have all benevolent guilds out there. Like it won't make for a good story.
Yeah,
It
there's
won't
no
make good for
conflict.
lore. Correct. And so it's like you almost hope other people rise up to do bad stuff because then it in all like not legit bad stuff, but
Yeah.
like in game scenario type stuff because then it creates a great story.
Yeah.
And that's what we want to see. We want to see a great story that develops from all this type of stuff in Stars Reach.
Yeah, I remember early on when plants were very sparse and resources were sort of sparse, and I was digging up and getting these and stuff like that, and doing the sort of the clear cutting thing. I was thinking to myself, man, I'm gonna be pissing off Gunk, but wait, I'm creating work for them to do, so it's not all that bad.
Yeah, and it just makes us think of different things because you get to
Yeah.
see whether players are just purely testing or if it's something they would legitimately do like once launch happen. It just
Mhm.
gives you it gives you insight
Yeah.
into how players will play, and the way we want to be able to function is it kind of benefits knowing that type of stuff because then it can allow us to plan for different things.
Mhm. Now, do you guys plan on doing anything in the political system of like governing planets? And if so, how do you plan on governing the planets with the resources of cutting down trees and mining? What's your hopes for that?
Yeah, so that's something that we're kind of really excited to see how it ends up panning out with like the quote unquote elder game for the game. Um and we definitely want to like our current plans are we want to have like a grand conservatory planet. And then govern that and then kind of make it like a area where people can come and enjoy themselves, have quests, stories, all that type of stuff. And hopefully, at least currently, probably trying to think of it more as like a touristy area versus more like a city.
Hmm.
But plans can always change from that side. But we definitely, it's something we're constantly thinking about on how we can, um, again become part of being able to help people. And if we could create an area where it's like if you want to have good quests, come to this planet.
Hmm.
um and we want to be like with the government being able to set up different areas so like we can have preserved wildlife areas, so we could set up like here you can walk through this kind of like open zoo type thing, or have specific vendors there that are like locally sourced type stuff. So it's like none of these goods were strip mined type thing.
Mhm.
That's kind of where we want to go with a lot of it, is knowing that like this stuff that you're buying came from reputable vendors and stuff like that. And so that's kind of how we're thinking about our planet in the current planning stages right now. Is we just want to be that helpful group and then use the political and leadership side of things to be able to zone things correctly so that we can keep the planet pristine while also allowing players to enjoy the quest, the story, and that kind of stuff with the planet.
Okay, and now for you personally, what's the one thing in game that you found to be really fun that you thought that you were just not going to enjoy?
Mining. It's
Yeah.
I am not a miner. So like I played WoW forever, and
Mm.
mining to me, even though like mining and herbalism are essentially the same function, um, mining just never clicked with me. Like I just don't like the idea of it. Don't know why, but uh when I started playing, like probably about a month ago, I'm like, you know what? I need to collect the mining stuff. I've been putting this off for a while, but I'll go try collecting it. And it was just like almost therapeutic, like going through, because you have to actually, it's not just, you have to think of it, especially with the adhesion update and
Oh yeah.
making sure you don't cave yourself in. And so it added a different type of gameplay that you just, granted, I don't play games that have a ton of mining type stuff, but
Mm.
it actually made me enjoy it. And that's kind of like what I was talking about at the beginning. It's like everything they put out, it's like, oh man, I like this. And how am I going to really define my character if I like all this stuff?
Yeah, that's the hard problem I've had. I mean, originally my plan was, okay, I'm gonna make my bounty hunting character, and that's what I'm gonna do. And now he's no longer a bounty hunting character; he's also a responsible miner. And I latched on to mining, and I got so addicted on it. In fact, almost every video I do, I bring up mining because I enjoy it so much. And yet, as I say, in every other game I played, I hate harvesting. I hate mining. It's not fun. It's tedious. In Stars Reach, it's a thinking man's game, and I love it, and it's fun there. So what's a gameplay mechanic you've heard the developers talk about or excited to see in the game?
So many. Um,
What's
I
the one that's got you the most excited right now?
probably I want to see. So I want to see xenobiology. So Dave was recently teasing it
Mm-hmm.
a few days ago, and it's like it's coming next 2 to 4 patches, somewhere around there, I think it
Yeah.
was. And it's like, okay, because that's hopefully what my main profession will be. So I'm like, I'm very interested in seeing how it kind of takes shape and knowing that it's like getting close, because I've been wanting to see it for since October. And so
Yeah.
that's kind of the thing. It's like, okay, because I want my doctor personality. Like that's where I'm going to be going, unless it's just terrible, which I don't think it's going to be, because everything's been good from a profession
I
standpoint.
don't think it will be, considering that there was bioengineering and creature taming in Star Wars Galaxies, and those were very fun and interesting. I think you're really, really going to enjoy it if they follow along those routes for xenobiology and make it and go further with it,
Yeah, I'm definitely
because
excited.
you take two different types of the same species, and they would have different stats on the creatures, and then you would genetically mix them together to make another creature that would have better stats in these certain areas that you're aiming for and stuff like that. So you can make a creature, like you could have one dewback that would be really good as a mount and very fast, and then you can make another dewback that was really strong and good for carrying and pulling a lot of weight and cargo, and then you can make another dewback that was very good in for combat and
Yeah,
things like that. And that's where it was really nice. And then the creature handling, you could do just dive into it a little bit to where, okay, I'm just able to ride pets. Or you could dive into it deeper where it's like, okay, I can tell this pet to go attack here or defend here or guard this person or do this trick type of thing. And so that I know they can do. I'm waiting to see what they're going to do to up the game of that type of thing.
yeah, because it's one of the things I brought up months ago was like, because again, I like the exploring, I like the discovery, I like documenting some of the stuff, almost like an actual scientist would do. It's like I was like, what would be amazing is like be able to have like a drone that I could fly around and like look at migratory patterns of different creatures and be able to detect different things about them and stuff like that. And Raph's like, well, we have this thing called journalism that we're going to have like drones and stuff like that. And it's like, oh man, something that I didn't even think I was going to even get into because I'm like,
Yeah.
journalism, something else. It's like, but I could make my character kind of be like a National Geographic type of like
Yeah.
journalist type thing. It's like that just blew my mind. It's like the possibilities are endless on like how you can combine your character to really make for some interesting combinations. It's like it's crazy.
It is. And you brought up journalism, and that's the third skill that my character is going to work on because I have this channel I'm doing. And what I really like is that even Gunks created a YouTube channel where you're showing off these different worlds, especially with the wild wormholes. You guys are doing a video on each world that's created from each test. And I want to thank you guys because you're documenting that. And I think with the journalism, you're going to be able to document it even better in very unique ways. And I'm excited for that. Now, if they are able to get the APIs for YouTube and Twitch into journalism to where you can put your videos into the games and stuff like that, I can only imagine what you guys are going to do with the world you're governing that you're turning into a theme park, with having different consoles have different videos on them and things like that, talking about the creatures and stuff like that would be very interesting.
Yeah, we've talked about like the possibilities of like being able to do like classes and like you'd be able to have a video that like teaches you how to uh tame a specific creature or how to find specific flora or like kind of like do that kind of stuff because again like we want to help people and like that just gives a whole new aspect of instead of like how like yeah you go to YouTube and like learn different things about how to do X or Y and but like how cool would that be to be in game like staring at a monitor in game and you're watching a YouTube video about the like it's just crazy like
it is. And what's even crazier about that is they want to plug in that the more people watch your videos, the more experience you get in journalism. It's just insane because then your character's getting XP while you're offline.
Yeah, it's what they're trying to do, and it's not even trying. Like, I mean, we haven't seen some of that stuff. They're succeeding in some of the stuff that they're trying to do.
A lot of things that we've never seen done in MMOs before.
And so it's like it just makes me that much more excited, and it makes the devs excited because you see like Discord, like just anytime they give a little bit of everyone's like going to town. I'll be like, this is amazing. Like
Oh yeah.
everything, like, and we get to see it. Like, it's going to be really great to see how certain things develop, because like if they do just that one aspect correctly with journalism,
Yeah.
that could just open up a whole new side of gaming and bring different types of gamers into the game that maybe wouldn't normally play a game like Stars
Well,
Reach.
and it would give a creative way for content creators like me to do videos.
Mhm.
And that's interesting. And the fact that you guys are, I mean, I don't think Gunk planned on becoming content creators when you built the guild, did you?
No, this is honestly the first time I've helped with creating videos, which it's they're like it's a work in progress for
It
sure.
is, but I mean, what you guys are doing is very interesting in that fact that you went that direction. And are you having fun putting together these videos and recording these videos?
Oh, it's been a blast. Like it's something that's new to me, and like
Mhm.
I would have never thought, and like doing like an interview like this, like
Yeah.
if you would have asked me like 5 years ago, like I'd be like, yeah, I would never do one of these, just because like it's not my personality,
Hmm.
type of a thing. But like the when you had brought it up, like if anyone was interested, like yeah, I'm interested, like anything to help build the community and
Yeah,
get content out there, and so that people can, because like who knows, you could find a couple people that watch the video and they're like, that resonates with me,
exactly.
and then you get new players, because
Yep.
it's slowly but surely, because like this game is pre-alpha, it's
Yeah.
got plenty of time to build the player base. It's like get those players in now and start to really make them feel what is actually happening.
Exactly. And that's part of the reason why I'm doing videos so early in development of this game is I want to show the progression of this game. I did a video on the dangers of mining, and I already need to update that video, but I'm holding off a little bit more for them to add a few more things so I can show even more of the dangerous and the interest in mining and why it's different, and that's fun. And then also, it's like you said, the developers interacting with us. I like the fact that Raph every so often jumps down, and we're all sitting there going, "Okay, Papa Raph, tell us a story." And we're sitting there excited, and then when he has to go, we're like upset children. Oh no, don't go! I mean, that's cool.
Yeah, it was insane, because it was, I think it was last voice chat or two voice, or no, it was last one, I
Yeah, it
think.
was yesterday
Um, yeah, and it's
or
like
Saturdays.
yeah, and it's like when does this happen? Like
Yeah.
with a person who's as big of a name as Raph, like who just sits in Discord and talks, like it was surreal. It was really surreal to see
you
that.
you really don't see that from other game development companies, and it's nice and it's refreshing. It's just like one of my goals when I jump into test, the first thing I do is I check to see if Dave's there. If Dave's there, I know my objective is to go and find out what changes he's made to creatures or what new creatures is out there, and then mention it. Because then I get Dave's laughter. And if I get Dave's laughter, I know I found it.
Yep, it's just such a cool thing, because you have to,
Yeah.
because like I see you in game, it's like I just see you and you're like you're beelining, you're like you have your mission,
Mm,
you're going forward with that, and it's just interesting to see each different player, because every player, like you hear them like, oh, I'm gonna go do this. And it's so cool to hear all the different aspects of, even though this is pre-alpha, it's like you're like, oh yep, I'm gonna go document all the flora. I'm gonna go document the creatures. I'm gonna go build a house in the mountains. It's it's insane on just even pre-alpha how
yeah.
much you have different players figuring out and making their own content, because that's important. Like in a game
Yeah.
like this, it's showing that we can make our own content, and hopefully as we get better at doing it, it'll just become easier and easier for everyone.
It is. And what I really like is how the community is willing to come to aid to other players. Because I remember on Saturday, I was trying to find that creature, and I finally found it, and I died like 5 times. And then I said in voice chat, "Hey, can someone come and help me take these out? They're really tough." And I know you and several others showed up to help take that out, and we were sitting there just having a fun blasting away at them and fighting them off, and then chatting afterwards, and then doing our normal thing of putting down a camp and then doing a dance party.
Yeah, that was and it's those type of experience that make the game really fun. Like
It
you have
does.
a lot of these games. Like when I play WoW, it's like, oh yeah, I'm out there doing my own thing, and it's like, yeah, yeah, have like a group sometimes, but it's like that was a thing where it was a perfect example of you're like, hey, found these new creatures. A lot of us are looking for those new creatures because
Yeah.
it's new, and we're like, okay, where are they? You find them, and you're like, hey, I need some help, and
Yeah.
it's like it was like I think it was like 7 people eventually ended up coming like pretty immediately, and I
Yeah.
think we had over 10 at some point, and it took us like I think of my full run video was I think like 10 minutes, and so
It did.
it took us a long like there's no way, no physical way a single person could have done that, not possible.
But
Um,
that's what made it fun. And what I
yes,
really like is the systems that they put in place. We didn't have to invite each other into a group. We didn't have to sit there and go, okay, this dropped this loot, everyone roll for this, and then go on an honor system and trust that only that person picks up that loot. And
yep,
I like the system that they put into the soft grouping system, where the more you participate in what's being done in that area with those group of people, the more experience you get, along with that's your share of loot also. It's
yeah,
no having to micromanage things from the get-go. It's jump in, do it, and then we all go on our own separate ways and continue on with what we were doing. It's amazing. Because I
yeah,
remember, like, in EverQuest, we would sit there an hour before even a small group raid into Lower Guck. We would sit there and like wait for someone to get here, or find this type of person to fill this type of role, and then we'd have to fight our way down there and then camp there, and then once loot dropped, everyone had to roll for that loot, and then you had to trust that that person was the only one that got it, and things like that. And it was just so much on the management end of the game that if you didn't like managing things like that, it was a very hard task. And this game doesn't have that. Everything feels fun to do because of that.
yeah, and because it's like you want to make it because like some players like they just don't want to group like, and
Yeah.
that's just how people play. But like Sarge Reach is making it so easy to be able to group with other players without actually having to truly like interact with them.
Yeah.
And I think that's a key recipe for getting more people involved because it's like with that type of group, like I mean, yeah, some of us were in voice and stuff like that, but
Yeah.
there were plenty of people that weren't. And I imagine they had just as fun of experience because we all had a blast
Yeah.
dancing and cheering after we accomplished killing everything. And so it's one of those things where it's their Stars Reach is doing their job trying to appeal to everyone to make it as easy as possible and rewarding to be able to play together.
Yeah. And they're slowly doing that. I especially liked when they added in the difficulty levels of mobs.
Yes.
That was amazing because it added more challenge to the combat. Because before then, combat just felt too easy and was getting bland. I'd gotten too used to it. Now, when I crest over a hill, if I see a group of reds or like a purple, I'm like, nope, I'm turning around the other way.
Yeah, because combat actually, that's actually probably the thing that I've most enjoyed that I thought, because I'm a healer. Like
Mhm.
I played support for 20 years. Um, and so in this game, it's like the arcadey combat feel, because I'm not much of like a Souls player or
Yeah.
the more actiony combat. I just don't really enjoy it. But uh, this arcadey feel really feels fluid. Like I really enjoy how combat feels, and I'm like, well, maybe I will actually do some actual combat and not just healing.
Hmm.
So just that is very surprising for me because like I've played a disc priest in WoW for 20 years, and that's all I did. So for me to play more of a potential combat role is pretty crazy from my perspective.
Well, that's really good, and that brings up another question of what were your thoughts of when they finally broke away the Helix healing and made it its own skill tree? I take it you had to have been very happy with that.
Yeah, because the biggest thing that healers uh, get screwed over in games is you really don't get the benefit. Like
Hmm.
damage dealers always get the better loot. They get the better experience. They get more honor points. They all that type of stuff. And healers always kind of feel like, well, yeah, I helped a lot, but you don't really have anything to show for it.
Hmm.
And the fact that they're like it's already in game where it's like based on how much you heal, you get experience from it. It's like this is pre-alpha. Like you
Yeah.
already have that system in place, that healers actually get a benefit from it, and then you put it in its own skills so that even though it's not as balanced yet, we still get experience for healing. Like that's it's really good to see that because I think that will be huge for healers. And like they've already talked about, like the Helix is going to have more of a kind of attached like Mercy and Overwatch type feel to it. And
Hmm.
it's like as soon as I heard that, I'm like, perfect. Like
Oh yeah.
that's going to be a healer's dream.
Mhm.
And so you're going to attract a lot of healers because it's like it's in the forefront of their mind, which I always feel like damage dealers are the main focus.
Yeah.
But Stars Reach is showing like, no, like you need your healers. You really do need your healers.
Oh
Like when we
yes,
were
you
taking
do to
out
fight
those
those big
makers,
fights. I've been finding myself healing too. So, excuse me. You must have really liked when they added in how the loot split is done for healers based off of they get aggro for healing from the mobs, and the amount of aggro you have determines how much you get from loot.
yeah, it's that's been amazing to see in place. And like you can see, I know I was healing one, and like I was pulling more aggro than the damage dealer, and it's like, okay, too much aggro. But it's good to see that, like,
Mhm.
and then you can see the reward from healing. It's like, wow, I just got 20 acid. It's like this is insane that like it's working. Like
Yeah.
it's working with that from a healing standpoint. It's like that's really cool to see that. It's innovative on how they're going off like the aggro chart and just and divvying out the loot. It's really great to see.
It's a smart move. And I really like it too. And enjoying it in that fact. So with everything you said, I take it when the game launches, you're going to be a xenobiologist, you're going to be running gunk. What other things are you going to be mainly focusing your character on besides those two things when the game launches?
Yeah, so yeah, it's going to be xenobiology and then leadership, just because it seems like you need the leadership side
Mhm.
for guild running. Rangers definitely probably one of the other things, just to be able to better explore the worlds
Okay.
more efficiently. That's kind of what I'm thinking. And then it's probably again, I don't know if geneticist is going to be involved in xenobiology or not, but that's probably another side. And then if points are still available, it's probably going to be a little bit into journalism as well. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's one of those things where it's like I want to be that forward scientist that's out there exploring things and setting things back to our main planet. so players can analyze that and do stuff of that nature.
Well, all I ask is that if you ever need a bounty hunter, reach out to me, because that's what my main focus is going to be, along with mining and journalism.
Absolutely. It's the more the merrier. It's like
Yeah,
it having these relationships built with players and different guilds, it's already great to see because
it is.
if we work, because it's like, yeah, you have your own guild, but in reality, your guild can only be so big.
Yeah,
However, they limit it. But having these friendships and loose alliances, quote unquote, with other guilds is just going to make for a better like story. And that's something that I want to see really develop out is how players can work together to create the content, to create the story.
yeah,
Because that's how you're I want it to feel like it is like a WoW in the sense of we're the NPCs, like the groups that really want to put stories together and quests make us feel like NPCs to players who don't want to engage in that type of gameplay.
yeah.
And so making it feel seamless for them, that's a big goal for me.
Yeah, I agree with you. I also want to be one of those people that's making content for the people that want to consume content instead of make content. But the other thing, when you mention guilds and alliances, I hope that there is some kind of system in the game where guilds can actually make alliance, because I know that they talked about doing guild type wars type stuff later on, probably after the release. But I also like to see a guild alliance thing to where you can make alliance treaties with other guilds and things like that would be really, really interesting.
Yeah, I'm waiting for just the guild system in general because
Oh,
like
yeah.
when we built my Mycedium, it was like one of the things we're like, man, it stinks with the homesteads and the not having snapping or not being able to like put like public works and be able to say zone this for only building
Mm,
was definitely brutal, but it's like let's see, but it showed the devs because I know they were talking about, man, wouldn't it be nice if we could zone? It's like yes. And
yeah.
so it's like showing how difficult something is. The devs are seeing it like, okay, maybe it will get it in a little bit quicker. Like, I don't know, but it's one of those things that it's like, well, might as well keep trying these things and show what's possible, and
Yeah.
maybe you'll get stuff in quicker.
Well, that's the other thing I like is that the developers, when they're in there, Dave has definitely said that he sits there and takes notes. He
Hmm.
watches us play and he takes notes. And I've had several other developers say the same thing. They sit there and they watch us play and then they take notes on what they need to change, what they improved, different ways that we made them think about the game and stuff like that. And I think that is really great that they're doing that, because it's going to make a stronger, better game overall in doing that kind of thing.
Absolutely, 100% agree.
And so I can't wait to see what the game looks like in the future. But Drake, I want to thank you for your time and joining me in this interview. If you are interested in playing Stars Reach, there's a link to their website down below where you'll also be able to apply for the beta. If you want to guarantee that you get into the pre-alpha and stuff like that, they also have their Kickstarter still running, which there's a link to that. And if you do the what is it, the Reachers level of backing, you can get into the pre-alpha. I want to thank you guys for watching. I want to thank you, Drake, for your time, and have a great night.